Hello, Alex here. I'm just going to continue on where we left off. As you can see, the server finished being provisioned. So now we can actually go and actually create a site. So we're going to go to the Sites tab. We're going to type in the URL that we had. So unlearnedscience.com. Just going to copy that so I don't spell it wrong. And our server just popped up because it finished. So you can click that. And then we get a bunch of new settings. So we're gonna auto create. We're gonna create a new user. I'm gonna call this Test Chester. Make it admin only, and we have a default admin name, email, and password. Bundles is designed for you to put in the actual WordPress plugin file in Gridpane, and it will actually install and activate the plugin when it provisions the website. But we don't have that set up, but you can do that on your own if you want to have that take place. PHP version, I recommend 7.3. 7.4 is kind of buggy with older plugins, so this is the safest bet. PHP process management is referring to what or how a PHP serves pages on your WAS on the server. Dynamic is the most widely used because it automatically determines how much processing power, PHP processing power, is needed to render pages. These other two are mostly for production, high load, high demand websites that have a lot of traffic, and so we can definitely go over this later on in the tutorial because this is going to come up again. Nginx caching, I'm going to leave that to none because we don't need that, as well as the WAF, we don't need that either. We don't need SMTP integration right now. We do need auto SSL set up. And we do not have DNS API integration like DNS Made Easy or anything like that set up. So we're just going to leave that as default. And we can go ahead and click Add Site. Alright, so as you can see here, it's already trying to install the site on the server we just created. And give it a second here, it shouldn't take long. DB is getting created. So it looks like it just finished. It's actually provisioning the SSL as well because of the auto SSL that I turned on. Give it a second here. In the meantime, you can actually click the name. It actually pops up a dialog with all the settings that you can configure for the site. Alright, so it says driver and pass to issue the SSL. Domain was successfully updated. Auto SSL enabled. SSL complete. So now our SSL has been configured for that domain from GoDaddy. This is a Let's Encrypt, so it should propagate appropriately. So if we go to domains, as you can see here, we have our domain here. SSL is enabled. The next phase is to go to multi-site settings and decide what type of multi-site do you want to create. For this instance, for this demo, we're going to be using the subdomain because it's the hardest to create. So I'm going to turn that on. So it's just enabled subdomain. And the next thing is Ultimeal integration. So Gridpane, one of the good things about it is that it actually has an Ultimeal integration feature. So turning this on allows Gridpane to recognize when a new site's created through Ultimeal on your site, and it automatically puts a domain here based on that. So it's a good thing to have that turned on. So we're good there. So now we can actually go back to the site and we can try to go to it. So if we click this little green arrow here, it takes you directly to the site, and voila, we have WordPress multi-site. If we go back and click the WordPress single sign-on, it will take you directly to the WordPress backend with one click. Okay, so this is one of the sub-sites here. And this is the WordPress network admin for super admin. So yeah, so that's how you set up a site. Let's go through the settings here. I just want to make sure we go through these so you know what they are. Like I said, we just turn on auto SSL. Single sign-on's on. Clickjacking protection allows for the Ultimeo's preview template feature. That needs to be turned on. If that's off, you're gonna have issues, so make sure that's on. We go to security. We don't have any of this on right now. If you need this, you could definitely turn it on. PHP. This is very important. I'm going to change the time zone to New York. And I'm going to change some of these numbers here for multi-site compatibility. So max execution time, I usually change this to 600. Gives it more time. File uploads is fine. Max input time, I'm going to change that to 600 as well. Max input variables, we can leave that at 5,000. It's fine. Memory limit, I'm going to change that to 2096, which provides 2 gigs of RAM to your to PHP rendering pages. That's just increases that limit there. Pulse max size, I'm going to change that to 1,000. And the rest of these you don't have to change, but upload max file size, I'm going to change that to a gig. So that would give us a little flexibility to decide what we want to do for Buddy Ball. So we'll talk about that later. I want to update all PHP any settings, and that's been updated. We're still updating, so still updating all the settings there. Alright, so that should be done. So we go to PHP FPM settings. This goes back to what I was saying during the setup of the site. So dynamic is here. So we have our start, spare, or min spare, max spare, children, and max request. Okay, so these children and these requests are kind of the determining factor on how much transactions can take place on the server. So when PHP renders a WordPress page, maybe one of these or two of these get activated to handle X amount of requests that come through the domain, right? So on a very production-like, busy WAS network, right, that maybe has an LMS or some, a WooCommerce shop with like 1,000 products, you might want to increase this to handle more requests with more children that handle those increased requests. Okay, if not, and if you have a lot, the users will experience slowness because PHP has only these many children to be able to handle whatever requests are coming in. So static pretty much tells the server, hey, just load up all of these children. So I could put 100 children here and put 2,000 requests that it can handle, right? And they'll just load them up once I click save. It'll just start creating these children, right? But they're not going to be doing anything because there's not that many requests coming in. But if you experience high load, you can come and increase this, and this is a good way to increase the speed of your server for high load. So on demand is similar. It's kind of the in-between where you can set the idle time for the children that you set that's not in use. There's an extensive documentation online about these three that you can look up, but this is just a high overview. Backups don't work with Multisite for Gridpane, so don't even worry about that. Clones as well, they don't work on multi-sites for some reason, so it doesn't apply to us. We talked about domains. Maybe in a later tutorial I will go through what DNS and API integration looks like, but for now we just added our DNS management IP directly here so that we don't have to use any of that at the moment, so should be good there. Logs, it's just if you have any errors or anything like that, you could check out the log. Beta settings, I normally turn off automatic updates for production so that there's no random update to a plugin that kind of stops your site from working. So that's something that I do to protect, and I update stuff manually based on what I see is to be good after I've tested on my local or dev environment. So I guess that's a quick overview. In the next video, we're going to go over how to install the plugins and set them up. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thanks.